Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the opening session of the 53rd Board of Governors of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. I'd like all the Israelis. I'd like all the Israelis in the audience to please silence their phones. The rest of you are all disciplined in any case. Let's start, please. So my name is Jeff Kay, and Mr. President, please take your seat. Professor Chaim, Rector, Yaron Eliav, Chairman of the Executive. He's good at that, Danny, isn't he? So, 75 years of the State of Israel, 63 of which I've witnessed. The first ones were before me. And these are big, big moments for the State of Israel. And they're big moments for BGU. And so, I also understand this is a bit of a competitive audience. And we are going to ask you to compete. Because here I have a very, very, very nice prize of a competition that we're about to start today. And the competition is as follows. Between now and Wednesday morning, we're asking anybody in the audience to list the 75 big moments or big events in BGU's history. Not people, events, things. For example, our brutalist architecture, or the fact that we were involved in the verse of Moses. 75 big BGU diamonds, if you like. And we have a student committee headed by Barak Dvir, who have put together a jury to look at the entries. And the prize is going to be, in this envelope, is a night for two in any of Israel's hotels in the country to be used in the next year. So that's worthwhile competing for. What you have to do, use your phones, anything where you want, and send it to the following email address. We'll send it to you again in the group so you all have it. It's bguprize, one word, at bgu.ac.il. Again, anybody in the audience, 75 big moments or achievements or characteristics of BGU, and this prize might be yours. And on Wednesday evening, when we start our party, we'll announce who the lucky winner is. Okay, we're all clear? Without further ado, Chairman of the Board, Lloyd, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the Board of Governors, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the opening plenary session of the 53rd Annual Meeting of the Board of Governors of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Last night we celebrated the 75 years since the establishment of the State of Israel at the desert home of the nation's founding Prime Minister. From the place where he chose to spend his last years, we can reflect clearly on the role Ben-Gurion University has played in realizing David Ben-Gurion's dreams for the Negev and in making present-day Israel the miracle that it is. This year, many of you, our overseas and Israeli board members, chose to step up, to engage and become more involved with everything that is going on at Ben-Gurion University. I am heartened that our friends and supporters have chosen to be part of the solution to the challenges faced by the university and Israel at this time. And we are deeply grateful for your ongoing support and friendship. I would like to especially thank those of you who have chosen to join our board committees. Your experience and advice are invaluable and greatly appreciated. Your unique perspectives help us achieve the remarkable. Over the next 3 days, we will have the opportunity to experience the groundbreaking research going on at Ben-Gurion University. We're going to experience it up close. We will meet a wide range of researchers from many different fields and get a real taste of their work. I urge you to ask questions, engage in discussions, and keep an open mind. I am certain you won't be disappointed. Once more, I would like to thank each and every one of you, our board members, for your commitment to Ben-Gurion University. I am honored to serve alongside you as we work to realize our shared vision for this great institution. Together, we have the power to make a real difference in the lives of our students, the Negev, Israel, and the entire world. We can help Ben-Gurion University continue to realize its vision in becoming a leading institution of higher education and research for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. It's now my pleasure to invite Aviva Barash, who is the liaison to the Board of Governors, who's been working literally around the clock in the last year, putting this all together. So thank you, Aviva, please.
Thank you. Present with us today are two of our vice chairpersons, Ellen Marcus and Tony Young, who is also chair of the Global Development Committee. I would also like to acknowledge Lionel Halperin, chairman of the Finance Committee. Last week, on May 7th, the Finance Committee reviewed and approved the university's financial statements for the year ending September 30th, 2022. You received that electronically in advance of today. I now ask the Board of Governors to approve those financial statements. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Any opposed? Great. The board hereby approves the financial statements. The university's current budget was reviewed and approved by the executive committee and was forwarded to you electronically prior to today. We will now vote on the current budget. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Any opposed? The board hereby approves the budget. This year we are asked to approve 2 amendments to the university's constitution and bylaws. These were done after approval by the executive committee. Explanation of the amendments were sent to you electronically in advance. You can also find them here on your seats today, the information sheets that were just distributed. Hopefully you've read them. I now call upon the Board of Governors to ratify these amendments. All in favor, please raise your hands. Anyone against? These amendments are approved by acclamation. Thank you.
Okay, our next order of business is to welcome new board members to the BGU family. But first, we must sadly acknowledge those dear friends and supporters who have left us during the past year. I respectfully request that the Assembly stands as we read the names of the board members and other supporters who have passed away since our last meeting. Wendy Barron, David Ben-Gurion, Yitzhak Bezalel, Gerda Feierberg, Nissim Gaon, Professor Richard Goldstein, Laurie Lockie, Claire Marweg, Mark Mendelson, Nitzan Moshe, Hilda Nam, Younes Nazarin, Klaus Netter, Therese Sadon, Lily Safra, Charles Temel, Tzvi Valdan, Aaron Yadlin, and Adeline Zlotowski. May their memory be a blessing. Yeh Zechram Baruch. Please be seated.
We will be talking a little bit more about Adeline at our meeting in the Marcus campus at this annual Zlotowski event. But I want to stop for a moment and talk a little bit about Aaron Yadlin. I've been at the university for 4 years, And it's been an incredible experience for me, but one of the most profound experiences is coming to executive meetings and meeting Aaron Yadlin, a figure greater than life, a man who was active until the very end of his tenure, probably one of, I would say, the founders of the State of Israel, influenced Ben-Gurion himself to build the university and build in Beersheba. And sadly, Aaron passed away on the 12th of August of last year. A real leader. He was awarded the Ben-Gurion Prize in 2005, Israel Prize in 2010, and he received an honorary doctoral degree from Ben-Gurion University in 1988. Please. Zichro Baruch. It's, I think, very moving to announce that, along with consultation with Aaron's son Amos and decision by the executive, the hall in the second floor of the student building, the Rotem Hall, is going to be renamed the Yadlin Hall. We think it's very good. Right.
Upon completion of a 4-year term as the chairman of the executive committee, Yoram Aryav and the search committee has agreed to appoint Advocate Avi Nissenkorn chairman of the executive committee. After approval by the executive committee, Advocate Avi Nissenkorn's curriculum vitae was sent to you electronically. The Board of Governors is now asked to ratify this appointment of Avi Nissenkorn as chairman of the executive committee. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any against? The appointment is approved by acclamation. Thank you. Thank you, Avi. Congratulations, and we wish you the best. We look forward to working with you over the next several years. Jeff?
Thank you, Lloyd. I now invite President Professor Daniel Chamovitz to bestow upon Yoram Aryav, the outgoing chairman of the executive, a certificate of appreciation for his long-standing efforts on behalf of BGU.
So it says here, certificate of commendation recognizing Yoram Aryav in acknowledgement for your support and deeds as chairman of the executive committee of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, with appreciation for your invaluable guidance and loyal dedication to the university's success and in expanding the horizons of research and knowledge, with the esteem for your steadfast leadership and your own positioning Ben-Gurion University as a leading academic institution, with gratitude for being part of the university's mission to advance the Negev and ensure the future of the State of Israel. And I just have to say, you could stay here for a few seconds, because then, Yoram joined the university very soon after I became president, replacing Asher Khaled, who had led the executive council for a number of years. And everyone brings their own DNA to the university. Everyone brings their own influence to it. I was lucky in being the last president who could appoint head of the executive council. You just changed the bylaws that now I can no longer appoint it. It's now, there's a search committee. We do things officially now. But Yoram, with his, for the people who are not Israeli, the Israelis all know all the sgulot, all the incredible characteristics of Yoram. Well, he brought to the university not only years of experience in working in the Ministry of Finance, in knowing how to deal with the government at the highest levels. For me, he was a mentor in learning how to run an organization, a movement, as as large as the university. Our weekly, bi-weekly consultations were essential for my functioning as a university. I always knew that I had a steady hand behind me, but he also brought into the university a different culture of working as a company, as a corporation, with work plans, with clear goals, and held us to an incredibly high standard and ran the executive meeting with an iron hand that no one got out of line. But always with a calmness, with never raising his voice, with never having to raise his voice, which is true leadership. His influence, his mark, his stamp on the university is going to be felt for years to come, and he's not leaving us because he's going to remain. As you can see, that Asher is still part of the Board of Governors, and we expect to see you here with us at least once a year. It's really, and we should say that he's leaving for good reasons, because he got a job that put him, that he can no longer keep this position, but he's still part of the DNA of the university and going to be with us. Thank you so much.
Dear friends, it is with great honor and gratitude that I stand before you today as the outgoing chair of the Executive Committee of Ben-Gurion University. For the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of working with outstanding people who have dedicated themselves to the prosperity and development of Ben-Gurion University. As we all know, BGU is not just a great academic institution, but also plays a crucial role in the development of the Negev, which was envisioned by Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion. During my tenure, I have witnessed the resilience of BGU in the face of local and global crises, including the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a testament to the commitment of the university's faculty and management. As chair of the executive committee, my role was to help the management meet complex challenges, ensure financial stability, and formulate work plans to achieve BGU's goals. I'm proud to have played a part in BGU's growth and development over the past 4 years, and I believe that the university has a bright future ahead of it. However, we must not forget BGU's social mission in the Negev, which includes providing opportunities for disadvantaged populations, such as the Bedouin community. Recent months have seen Israel's young democracy face challenges, with some initiatives contradicting the principles of Declaration of Independence and the vision of David Ben-Gurion and the other founding fathers. As such, the Executive Committee, under my direction, encouraged and supported BGU management to express its stance against the judicial reform, or may I call it a judicial revolution. I would like to emphasize it is essential to recognize that academia cannot exist without a solid democratic system, requisite checks and balances, and judicial system that protects the rights of individuals. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the individuals that I have worked with me over the years, particularly BGU President, Professor Daniel Chamovitz, for their hard work and dedication to BGU. I've enjoyed every minute of working with them. Finally, I would like to extend my wishes to success to my successor, Avi Nissan-Cohen. I'm confident that Avi has all the skills, qualifications, and experience to lead Ben-Gurion University to even greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Yeroman. And we're neighbors, so I'll make sure that you stay involved, Yerom. The definition, as you may already know, the definition of walking on thin ice is having to introduce your boss. And particularly a boss who has two names. Is it Danny Chamovitz, Daniel Chamovitz? Whatever I'm going to say, I'm going to get it wrong. So I am just going to say that the last 4 years for me are an absolutely incredible adventure, and I learn every single day from my president, Professor Daniel Chamovitz.
Think about the future of our that video that we had with Avi, with Omri Kaspi, and everything he talked about, the 75 years of Israel, and if you think back on the past 53 years at Ben-Gurion University, all of the challenges. No, it's not working. Okay, there. All of the challenges and all of the great achievements go hand in hand with what we have been doing for the past 50 years. So I want to start with the story. I want to talk, last year I talked about the values of Ben-Gurion University. And I want to give it one quick story about one professor, one young professor. Ben is in the Department of Chemistry, and he really embodies excellence, integrity. Ben was one of the first people who was hired once I became professor. Ben comes from Wales. He's not Jewish. He comes from a Zionist Welsh family. He has done his PhD at the Weizmann Institute. And every university in Israel was fighting for him to come to them. He's a genius. He's an incredible guy. Thanks to philanthropy from Nachum Guzik, from the Marcus Endowment, from the Crown Foundation, and from the Ilse Katz Institute, we succeeded in convincing him to build his future at Ben-Gurion University. So what's so special about what he does? Well, if any of you are Harry Potter fans, what Ben has discovered is how to become invisible. If you've ever seen how animals can change colors in order to blend in with their environment, Ben has discovered the chemical basis of animals changing their colors immediately to blend in with their backgrounds. And this finding was so important. For perhaps the first time in Ben-Gurion University's history, this finding was published on the cover of the most important journal for academic science called Science. And this happened 2 months ago. And Ben has been recognized worldwide. We're going to have to fight to keep him because everyone wants him to move to their university. But just an example of the type of incredible work going on at Ben-Gurion University that is enabled through philanthropy. Without this work, he would be at another university. Without this help, he would be at another university at Ben-Gurion in Israel today. So let's go over some of the new initiatives that we've had over the past year at Ben-Gurion University. We always talk about expanding opportunities. How Ben-Gurion University has to, over the past years, we've expanded our own expanding of opportunities, not only to the areas which we take for granted, but for example, a new program for Ethiopian women to be accepted to Ben-Gurion University by a new way of having them being having to do their exams to be accepted to Ben-Gurion University, to increase the number of Ethiopian students who may not be succeeding in the classic psychometric SAT exams, or a program that we have for Ukrainian and Russian students to start their studies in Russian in Israel at Ben-Gurion University as they make their aliyah, as they get accepted into Israeli society. So we continue in our mission to open up Ben-Gurion University to diverse populations. Yeah, this one works as well. Okay. Wait 1 second. Okay. We talk about the power of together. The power of together goes with the way we do science. For example, we have a couple of new institutes. For example, the Center for the Study of Digital Politics and Strategy, mixing politics, political science, and cybersecurity. Or the Eigel Center for Food Systems, One Health and Resilience, which takes people from public health, which takes people from medicine, which takes people from this campus, takes people from sciences. Or the Vladimir Zelman, MD, PhD, Interdisciplinary Center for Brain Sciences, incorporating professors from all the different faculties in the university, all studying how our brain works. And our newest center, the Guzik Center for Advanced Microscopy, a center that has the most advanced microscopes in all of Israel, here serving our professors both in engineering, natural sciences, and in health sciences. And everything is possible. This past year, we opened up Ben-Gurion University on the Hudson, together with New Jersey Institute of Technology. This is the ribbon cutting ceremony. Who could imagine Ben-Gurion University would be on the Hudson facing Manhattan? And if that's possible, then how about having a center for Ben-Gurion University in the Galapagos? This is what we're started inaugurating this year. This is the first delegation of Ben-Gurion University researchers from the Goldman Sonnenfeld School of Sustainability and Climate Change. This is the Galapagos reaching out to us to partner with them. And now we have a research center, a base for our own researchers in the Galapagos. Actually, if we would have our Board of Governors meeting there, would anyone join us? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think we should definitely, okay, Lloyd, that's what we have to work on. The Unit for Interdisciplinary Studies under the Rector, has the Goldman Sonnenfeld School of Sustainability and Climate Change, the School of Brain Sciences, the Unit for Data Sciences. All of these things are breaking barriers to allow diverse academics. We have a new School of Education finally at Ben-Gurion University, bringing together 3 different units that we're dealing with education. This is going to change the way this department, this school works. Or, for example, for the first time in the Negev, we finally have a Department of Occupational Therapy. You may not know this, our Faculty of Health Sciences do not teach OT. For the first time in October, there's going to be occupational therapy in the Negev. There's a huge need for these positions in the health, providing health and providing aid in the Negev. And we have a new BGU hotel. I know that was going to get more, I knew that was going to get more response. It's small, only 45 rooms in the new North Campus, but the next time you come on your own, this is where you could stay, and it's very nice. We might take a look at it later. We always talk about going boldly, and our entrepreneurship program at Ben-Gurion University is the best entrepreneurship program in Israel. Ben-Gurion University, the small university of the Negev, 53 years old, is ranked in the top 50 worldwide for graduates who get venture capital. We're number 8 outside of Israel, outside of the United States. What are the chances of that happening? It's clearly impossible. Our venture capitalists, we have 8,000 students involved in entrepreneurship. We've over $17 million has been raised by our undergraduates to fund their companies. And this is only over the past 2.5 years. You all know, of course, about our cyber at Ben-Gurion University with Deutsche Telekom. This past year, we added to that. We now not only have the Deutsche Telekom labs, we have the Lenovo labs at Ben-Gurion University, and we have the Fujitsu cybersecurity labs at Ben-Gurion University, a superpower in cybersecurity. And the IDF, the Army, is finally here. After years of talking about it, this is Basmach, the school for Basmach Beit Sefer, the school for advanced computing in the IDF. This is building number 4 in our ATP. This entire building is a base. And you say, well, there's soldiers. How can they have soldiers in a base like this? On the roof, they have an open area where they do their marching once a morning and they raise the flags. But it's a high-tech building in the park. It's amazing. And this is the view from my apartment of the soldiers who are living in the Zlotovsky dormitories, walking across, stopping for coffee on their way to the base. It really is amazing. And talk about the view from my apartment. Let's take a look. This is the view from my apartment, from the porch. Here, there's the Marcus campus, the DNA bridge. This is the ATP, building number 1, building number 2, 3, 4, the arm. And what you have over here, that is the new IDF computing base being built adjacent to Ben-Gurion University. This empty lot is going to be building number 5. This empty lot is building number 6. We see this every day. I look out and see it changing. Here we come back to Ben-Gurion, to the Marcus campus. This empty lot will be a commercial hotel, a 400-room commercial hotel. And over there, we have the new North Campus. And why do we need that? Because the Marcus campus is full. Here we could look at top of the Marcus campus. The 3 last buildings. We have the Rachel and Max Javit Medical Simulation Classroom building, which some of you will be seeing later. Over here at Soroka, we're building the Delorio Medical Research Institute, which is a common research building with Soroka and Ben-Gurion University. And later this evening, we're going to be celebrating the Sylvan Adams Sports Center. And after that, there's no room for anything in the future, which is why we have the North Campus. The dormitories we talked about last year, and later today we're going to be celebrating the future where we're going to be having all of these buildings. Can you imagine this? Just in 5 years' time, all these new buildings going up. And 25 years from now, the North Campus will look like this. How are we going to do this? This is an incredible dream. But how are we going to build an entire new city in the Negev? Now, just imagine the impact that this is going to have on Beersheba when all of these buildings are built, when all of these students, when the soldier students are building their companies around Ben-Gurion University, around Beersheba. How are we assuring the future of Israel, the future of Beersheba, which means the future of Israel? What is our role in that? How are we going to do that? That's why I'm pleased to announce, and we're going to be talking about this also later today, that together by 2030, first of all, it's because of you. Let's just talk. Over the past year, we've further developed our global network of donors. The United States is still about a half of our philanthropy. But look at Israel. Look at this. Israel is growing every year. It's now the 3rd largest country in terms of philanthropy to Ben-Gurion University. And that's why I'm convinced that there will be no problem by 2030, and we have to have big goals. By 2030, we are going to raise $1 billion. And the way we're going to, and now it's going to say, oh my God, how are we going to raise $1 billion? Well, I got really good news for you. We've been doing it quietly and you didn't even know it. We're already a quarter of the way there. This is since a year, this is over the past 2.5 years. We've raised almost a quarter of $1 billion without even trying to reach this goal. And if you look at these numbers around the world, it's clear how we're going to do this. Our friends in the United States have said that they have no problem committing to even doubling their output. Canada for years has already been punching above their weight, as they say. Switzerland and the UK are our classic places where we've been raising money for years, which are being renewed. And if the rest of the world can renew their commitment to Ben-Gurion University, and we're going to be able to do that, there is no problem reaching this goal by 2030. And this becomes more important now than ever as we see the support for public education dropping in Israel. It is philanthropy which enables us to do the remarkable. We don't need philanthropy to pay our salaries. The government does that. But as the government cuts the budget for higher education every year, the funds to do these incredible things more and more are going to have to come internally and externally. And looking at you, meeting you every year, and seeing what we've accomplished over the past 4 years, I have absolutely, positively, no doubt that we will reach this goal. And how are we going to be able to do that? It's because of the Israeli spirit. That's what we are at Ben-Gurion University. And what we have here in this picture, these are BGU students and staff getting together, taking their own time, discussing the situation in Israel. This is BGU. These are students from the right, from the left, whatever the right and left means in Israel anymore, I'm not even quite sure what it means, who decided that the best response that Ben-Gurion University can have to the crisis in Israel right now is to talk, is to get together and understand each other. This was an initiative of the rector, and we could see it was just hundreds of students showed up for this, and faculty members. We are the answer to the ills of Israeli society. We are the future. Ben-Gurion University embodies everything that we believe in about the future of Israel, because our real superpower is the Israeli spirit that has imbibed in Ben-Gurion University since its founding. We are the only university that was founded by a government mandate for the future of the country. And every day that I drive through the gate of Ben-Gurion University, I have a smile on my face, still in my 5th year, because what a privilege it is to be a part of something that you know that you are changing history, that you are part of history. And we are all a part of that. That is our superpower. So thank you very much for being part of Ben-Gurion University. I look forward to hearing what we're going to be doing this week, and seeing next year what we're going to accomplish over the next year. And I'll just finish again with this picture that I've shown already 3 times. This is on Student Day. I just love, those are 20,000 students behind me. That's maybe our true superpower, our students. Thanks very much.
I told you I learn every day from him. Thank you. When you've been around a lot, and I've been around a lot, you get amazing, amazing opportunities to meet some really very special people. I'm going to introduce to you a very special person who will be joining the Board of Governors in just a few moments after we vote. But over the years, I've been really privileged. I've met members of Knesset and Prime Ministers. I even met Prince Charles when he was Prince Charles before he became King Charles, and I even met Bruce Springsteen. But when I went home, none of that had the same effect as when I went home and I said that I'd met Miriam Peretz. Miriam Peretz was born in Morocco, came to Israel and Aliyah as a young girl, and grew up nearby our university in the Dalit neighborhood of Beersheba. When I met her, she told me about how she got to the university and how she was given a scholarship to have a full degree because she was one of the underprivileged students at the time. She graduated one of the university's first cohorts and went on to have a long and fruitful career in education. She is, of course, proud to be a BGU alum. And as we are celebrating Israel at 75, and Miriam, more than anybody else, symbolizes the Israeli experience of service to the public, of sacrifice, and of hope, having tragically lost 2 sons, Uriel and Eliraz, who were killed in combat during their military service. But Miriam found life-affirming strength in her deep sorrow and dedicated her life thereafter to community service, being an inspiration to all of us, lecturing far and wide. I think she's going to Chicago tonight or tomorrow to strengthen this Jewish-Israeli spirit and foster unity to the nation. On the occasion of Israel's 66th Independence Day, Miriam was given the honor of lighting a torch at the national ceremony on Mount Herzl. And 2 years later, in 2016, she received the Israel Prize. Let's watch a little bit about Miriam. Dearest Miriam, you are Ben-Gurion University of the Negev You are the state of Israel and your Jewish people. Please rise. Lloyd and Aviva.
I'm very honored to be on the Board of Governors and to be able to be with people like Miriam, who I know are improving the world, looking to make the world a better place outside of Ben-Gurion University. And I know many of you are doing the same. And as a group together, I know we're doing it at Ben-Gurion University and improving the world for it. And I thank you. I would now like to present the recommendations for the re-election of the members of the Board of Governors whose term expire this year. These recommendations are the results of consultations with the nominees and the relevant associate organizations. We will not read the full list, but I ask you to refer to the renewal nominations that appear in the booklet placed on your seats. All in favor of re-electing these members, please raise your hands. Anyone against? These nominations are approved by acclamation. Thank you. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your continued service and partnerships. We would now like to express our sincere gratitude to the members of the board who will retire at the end of the meeting. I am confident that we can count on their continued interest and support. And finally, we'd like to present the recommendations of the nominating committee for new members of the Board of Governors who will serve a 3-year term. These recommendations are the result of broad consultations, including with the relevant associate organizations. Please refer to the Board of Governors booklet that were distributed earlier for more information on our new nominees.
Eric Butel from Canada. Doron Cohen from Israel. Dovi Francis from Israel and the US. Craig Granowitz from the US. Yuri Kaner from Israel. Cindy and Max Mintzberg from Canada. Jan Abby Leaf from the United States. Nomi Olbaum from Canada. Gail Palevsky from Canada. Miriam Peretz from Israel. Okay. We have Major General Eliezer Shkedi. Unfortunately, he's not with us, but he's on the board. Ela Kaspiarnitsky.
All in favor? Okay. Anyone against? These nominations are approved by acclamation. Could our new members rise so we can congratulate them on their appointments and we can see who you are?
Thank you.
We wish you a successful term and a wonderful experience in your terms.
Thank you, and Mazal Tov to everybody. I don't know how many people were at breakfast this morning were delayed in getting their coffee. If it was the case, it's because the waiters and the waitresses were all taking selfies with Dovi Francis, who we just elected to our Board of Governors. Dovi is literally a household name in Israel, not just because of his socks, because he's always got really good socks on, he's going to show you them in a second, but because he is He really is a celeb of our times. And more importantly than being a celeb, he's also a BGU alum who has done incredible things globally since leaving BGU, and hopefully thanks to BGU. But a number of years ago, Danny and Tal and others got to know Dovi and said, we need to mobilize our alum. We know how incredibly good we are and how incredibly successful we are. We need you to tell the story. And Dovi immediately rose to the challenge, actually self-solicited, which is pretty good as a lesson to all of us. And we're so proud to have Dovi part of our team. Please, Dovi.
All right. These are all very tough acts to follow, so I'll do my luck. I'll try my luck. I've been in Israel for a couple of weeks now, so my English has deteriorated. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished members of the Board of Governors, it feels as if only yesterday I was running from one building to another, rushing to yet another economics class at the Kreitman Center. As if only yesterday I was roaming back and forth between the Zlotovsky Student Center and the Cummings Plaza, hoping to catch a glimpse of Shiran, a beautiful contemporary art student I was very much in love with. Today, almost 20 years following my graduation, I stand before you as the newest and youngest Israeli-born member to join this esteemed group, hoping to give back half as much as Ben-Gurion has given me throughout the years. It is a humbling privilege to address all of you at this annual event, surrounded by individuals whose generosity has played a vital role in shaping the future of Ben-Gurion University. The time has come for us to take a swift action, so allow me to put pleasantries aside and cut to the chase. Today, we will speak truth with one another. This cannot be and will not be one of those, polite speeches that none of you will remember the moment my time here on stage is up. These are challenging times globally. Almost 2 decades of uninterrupted growth, supported by record low interest rates, have come to a screeching halt. The predictable world we lived in is now a chaotic place, where the world population in most countries is declining rapidly, impeding economic growth, where globalization has ended, and where an unstable climate sends shocks around global supply chains, impacting all global enterprises and our lives here on this planet. We ought to fear not. When there is an illness, there is also a cure in plain sight, as we've learned through COVID. The advent of science and technology through revolutionary inventions like CRISPR, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and AI allows all of us to solve many of these challenges our society now faces. If you think we have 5 to 10 years to contemplate how to incorporate artificial intelligence into our syllabus, you're being overly optimistic. We have about 3 years before we'll be considered laggers and our programs obsolete. We now have not only the responsibility to give back, but also the tools to turn Ben-Gurion into a world-leading institution, incorporating the studies and the usage of artificial intelligence into most of our facilities. May I also propose that we rush to launch an AI program attracting the brightest minds in our nation. They say Torah will come from Zion. I say Torah will go forth from Ben-Gurion University. I've outlined why now, but why us and why Ben-Gurion? In Peter Thiel's book, From Zero to One, which I recommend you reading, he discusses the question he likes to present during job interviews, trying to gauge candidates' original thinking. The question is, get ready, what important truth do very people agree with you on? I'll repeat, what important truth do very few people agree with you on? May I share mine with you? They always say, you get what you give. They are absolutely wrong. Through supporting education in this particular institution, you get 20,000 times more than you give. Every year, 20,000 students and the countless lives alumni like myself touch throughout our distinguished careers. The family name inscribed on the signage at the entrance to each of your buildings and libraries may fade with the passage of time, but your pure intent will remain there forever through the souls that went through each building and cathedral. My truth is, while we are all mortal, paving way for others to be successful through the best education one can obtain is as eternal as time itself. Giving is not an easy task. Surely many of you are at risk of becoming desensitized to the countless asks for donations and contributions. My friends, allow me to make this clear. I was not asked to donate. I have asked to give back. I consider it my responsibility, my true calling, and one of the mere few actions I can take in this life to influence the course of life of others at mass scale. To conclude, we barely said a word about Israel and about Zionism. Like realtors, we always talk about the amenities and the beautiful features, but we never talk about the strength of the foundation of the building, which we all seem to take for granted. So I will conclude this speech by a quote from our namesake, David Ben-Gurion. A homeland is not bought with money, is not won by the sword. It is to be earned by the sweat of your face, as they say in English. These times call for this Board of Governors to unite around a notion, to further advancing our innovative and technological competitive edge. We better get to work. The clock is now ticking faster, exponentially faster. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dovi, and it's not appropriate to show your socks today, but you can show them that they were really very special. Thank you very much. Aviva Barash.
The Board of Governors plays a vital role in supporting, promoting, and facilitating the well-being and growth of the university. Our committees provide an oversight, expertise, and invaluable insights that we take very, very seriously. This year, we relaunched 3 committees, which held their inaugural meetings yesterday: the Diversity and Inclusion, Student Affairs, and Campus Development. We thank you, all our friends who have agreed to serve as official members of the committees, as well as those who joined discussions yesterday. Ad hoc special thanks to Joanne Moore, Dr. David Breslauer, and Josh Arno, who is represented by Brenda Zlatin, who agreed to chair the committees today. Together, chairing with the professionals from the university, Udi Lerner, Professor Sarah Abu Rabia Quaider, and Professor Orna Almog. I'm delighted to call upon Dr. David Breslauer, Chair of the Campus Development Committee, to share his remarks from the meeting yesterday. Please, David.
Thank you. Are we okay? First thing I'd like to do is to thank everybody who attended the meeting and their participation. We went well over our 1 hour, and I think we accomplished a lot because of the dedication of the people who were there. I'd also like to offer a special thanks to Jeff Green for his support, his note-taking, and his writing my speech for today. We went into this with really very little direction, and we came out with not only direction, but some things that we can bring to you that everyone has to do that's in this room. The first was our objective, which is strategic thinking on how to develop new resources for physical development and maintenance. And maintenance is a key thing that I'm going to cover here in a second. In summary, we found that it is unsustainable to build buildings with only 25 to 40% of the building costs coming from lead donors and no extra support for future maintenance. In the past, the Israeli government put up 50% and we put up 50%. Today, the government puts up nothing, which means we have to double at a minimum what we put up. In addition to that, as you all are well aware, costs are rising around the world significantly, which means the cost of a building is now more than double. Then you add on the cost of maintenance over 20 years for a building, and we're talking about tripling or quadrupling the amount that a building costs. So that's what we have to come up with. It's been said that if you do what you always did, you always get what you got. We need to change our thinking. BGU hopes to convert the Hias campus, which is across from the Leonardo Hotel, which everybody I'm sure loves, into private development for a permanent income stream. They also need new dorm facilities at Sedbo-Care and the Alat campuses, perhaps to be done by the DBOT method, which is basically where somebody else builds it, they collect the money on it, and after 20 or 25 years, they turn the property over to Ben-Gurion. Now for our recommendations, and this is where we ask for your support. We believe that well, let me start with, it was a bank robber who was caught was asked why he robs banks. He said, because that's where the money is. Thank you, Jim. We need to tap where the money is today. And that includes international companies that we should partnership with and get support from. Tap the Abraham Accord countries for partnerships and support. Promote strategic new thinking with quarterly Zoom meetings and annual meetings in person. And we have a greater need for marketing materials to sell the North Campus. With respect to those first two, we need your support. Most of the people in here have contacts, very high and powerful contacts in corporations. Many of you have contacts in the diplomatic world. These are things that will take years. We're not asking you to get the money, but to open the door for Ben-Gurion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David, for that informative summary. And now I call upon Joanne Moore, the chair of the Student Affairs Committee, to report about the committee yesterday. Please.
I'm sorry, it's weird to have my back to people. Hi. So first of all, thank you to the professionals and to Orna, who's my co-chair for this committee. We get to hang out with the students, and as Danny said, they're the superpower of the university, so come join us. We're going to have fun. So basically, the goal of this committee is to ensure that the students have the best experience possible here, both while they're students and as they're transitioning into alumni and future superstars in Israel and around the world. So the focus will be working with the students to support them both through the Student Affairs Dean and the committees, as well as through the Board of Governors. We want to create a connection with the students for the Board of Governors, and we're going to think through ways to do that so that you guys will get to have as much fun as we do. And we hope that we can provide advice and guidance to the students through the student union and through other bodies that they select. Yesterday, we spent some time, and thank you for those who joined us both from the committee and from the Board of Governors. We spent some time having Orna explain what the Dean of Student Affairs does and the resources available through the Student Affairs Office. And then Barak Devere, who is the chairperson of the Student Union, explained what the Student Union is doing, some of the services that they provide, and some of the gaps that they see in terms of resources available for students or some of the needs that they've identified. We also invited 3 other students to join us, 2 from the Student Union and 1 who's just a regular student, to talk about their experience here at the university. Overwhelmingly, it was positive. They were selected for that. But generally speaking, they felt like the university gave them not only a great academic experience, but a strong connection to community, an outlet for them to do service in addition to their academic studies, and an opportunity to get to know and fall in love with the Negev. So those are all extremely positive. Interestingly enough, all 4 students were also participating in Yazamut 360 activities. So for those of you involved with Yazamut, they were excellent representatives and very excited about the work they were doing. And finally, I think they identified 2 challenges that we can start to think about as a committee. One was related to sort of career counseling while they're here at the university and what they will eventually do as alumni and rock star citizens. And so we can help them think through how to do that, or maybe how to do it better, and maybe some of the resources you all in this room, your networks, et cetera, might be helpful to them. The other was sort of advice, starting from day one here at the university, how to get the most out of their university experience. And again, I think that's something that we can help them with. So in terms of recommendations going forward, we want to continue to get to know different students and student communities and understand their needs and priorities. Identify 2 or 3 areas where we as Board of Governors and affiliates can specifically support students. And then more importantly, share what we learn about the student experience with the Board of Governors so that you all can engage more with the students and their experiences. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joanne, for those important remarks. And finally, I'd like to invite Brenda Zlatin, who's representing Josh Arno, the chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, to give a brief summary. Thanks.
Sure. So our community deals with diversity that people who want to be at the university can get to the university. The second is inclusion. That has to do with the experience in the classroom. A lot of it is work with faculty, making sure that students feel safe, feel welcomed. We know that when people have a better experience, they achieve more. They drop out less. So that's the second thing. The third has to do with shared living. We know that you could have a campus that's very diverse, but people might not talk to each other on the campus. Last week, I was able to be part of a hackathon for shared living, where 10 student teams presented their ideas. One of the ideas was an app, like a dating app, where you can find people who want to talk with you about difficult topics. So swipe right if you like the topic, swipe left if you don't like the topic, find someone that you want to have a conversation with. That's going to be followed up with a social accelerator. So the winning teams got some prize money. We're going to be helping them develop their ideas so they become part of the university. And the last, preventing discrimination, I think that needs no more said. Obviously, very important topic. We had a lot of participation, including people from the community and other professors who came. It's a complex set of issues. We don't have a strategic plan yet, but that's the work that we'll be doing over the next year. Lots of different ideas, putting them together, prioritizing them for fundraising. The committee exists to give support, moral support, emotional support, spiritual support, but of course, most importantly, financial support. So that's what we'll be working on over the next year.
Thank you, Brenda. We wish all the board committees much luck as they move forward towards the objectives that they laid out. Thank you.
So thank you, Aviva, and thank you, board chairs. We're reaching the end of this plenary. I just want to remind you once again about this prize that's still here, 75 amazing achievements, and you're going to get on the WhatsApp group the details of how to do so. So you'll have time on the bus and the lunch to be able to do so. But none of the amazing things that we're doing this university, and referred to by Dov, the heights we need to reach, would be achieved without the partnership of the leadership of the university. A very, very important part of this, Professor Chaim, our Rector. Chaim, please.
Okay, so I'm all that stands between you and coffee. And I would love to stand here and tell you stories about Aaron Yadlin, because I had some amazing, amazing experiences with him, but I won't do that. But I will actually talk about what I plan to say. So, dear friends and colleagues, welcome to the 53rd Board of Governors. Exactly 75 years ago, David Ben-Gurion, the namesake of our university, read out the Declaration of Independence. In it, we find the following: the State of Israel will be open for Jewish immigration and for the ingathering of the exiles. It will foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace as envisaged by the prophets of Israel. It will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. Stirring words that sound even better in Hebrew. And they have been fundamental for the amazing achievements of this wonderful country in general and higher education in particular. Higher education does not exist in a vacuum. Hence, the political and legal turmoil of the past months has already encroached on the academy and could have a devastating effect on the universities in general and BGU in particular. We have already witnessed an attempt by the Minister of Education to take control of the governing body of the National Library, one of the most important cultural institutions in the country, and a couple of weeks ago, the same minister tried to appoint someone who is not from a publicly funded institution to be vice chair of the Council for Higher Education, a move that sent clear and negative signals about how he views higher education and research. The Minister of Justice has stated publicly and on record more than once that when the reforms in the legal system that he is currently promoting are passed, academia will be next on his list of to-do things. While we had a successful year with our recruitment, as you can see in the President's report, the so-called reform is already having a negative effect, as brilliant young researchers doing postdocs in the best universities in the USA and Europe that we are trying to recruit this year are hedging their bets and are not accepting our offers. International academic collaboration is also suffering as our researchers are hearing all sorts of excuses about why collaboration is not currently feasible. And it is possible that in the not too distant future, leading funding bodies in Europe and elsewhere may think twice before granting funds to Israeli researchers and institutions. This is, of course, true as well of donors who, being unsure about what the future holds, may think twice about before committing their money to the university. Academic freedom, perhaps the fundamental principle for a thriving and successful academic institution, is no longer a given. And it is our responsibility to make sure that we retain our freedom to decide who we hire, who we promote, what we teach, how and what research is carried out, and uphold the right to free speech on campus. And I thought that I would have a calmer second term as rector. Together with my leadership team, the Deputy Rector, Professor Gal de Botton, and Vice Rector, Professor Timor Melamed, we continue to promote academic excellence and develop our vision for the university in both teaching and research. This past year, we have put much effort into our mentorship program for new faculty, creating a cadre of role models who give of their time and knowledge to assist young faculty as they take their first steps as principal investigators. Our mentors are handpicked and are themselves successful academics. We see them as potential future academic leadership of the university, and the feedback we are getting shows that our investment in giving these mentors the tools and skills they need are already paying dividends and improving our research, teaching, and academic community. Joined together with this is our leadership program for new heads of department, which is designed to give tools, skills, knowledge, and information, as well as creating a mutual support group. Being a head of a department is challenging, as you are chosen by your peers for a fixed period, and then you go back to being a member of the department and someone else takes over the job. Setting goals and getting people engaged is often a thankless task and demands good negotiation and persuasion skills. I have had the pleasure of a number of meetings with the first cohort, and as a result, have instigated a bi-semestrial meeting with all the heads of departments in the university to hear their concerns and exchange opinions. These meetings have proved to be beneficial and are now a fixture on my calendar. Israel faces a shortage of doctors from 2026 and is now, better late than ever, playing catch-up. BGU was one of the first universities to respond to the crisis and is doing its part to train as many MDs as is feasible. Last year, the university, together with the Joyce and Irving Goldman Medical School, increased its intake to 150 new medical students a year for the 6-year program. In addition, and at the bidding of the Council for Higher Education, we have closed the MSIH and have opened a 4-year medical program for Israeli students, though we are keeping part of the international health element that made the MSIH so unique. The Council for Higher Education has also approved our request, as you heard before, for a program in occupational therapy, and the first intake will begin their studies in October 2023. This program will hopefully provide much-needed professionals in this field for the Negev area. The horrific Russian invasion of Ukraine has caused a marked increase in aliyah from both countries. We saw this as an opportunity to target the new immigrants of university age and help them integrate in the country by setting up a preparatory program for academic studies where they learn Hebrew intensively and study in Russian, first-year courses in mathematics and physics. At the end of the year, and related to their achievements, they can join the relevant departments in the university. This program, headed by the indomitable Professor Louisa Meshi, is supported by the Ministry of Absorption and our donors, and we are very grateful for their support. We have a second group starting soon, and we hope to continue this program for as long as there is demand for it. We are delighted to do our bit to alleviate some of the pain and suffering and allow Jews from the Ukraine and Russia to make a new start together here in Israel. The bylaws of our university state that academic leaders are elected by their peers and that the terms of office are, thank God, limited to 2 consecutive terms. Several deans are coming to the end of their terms in office, and this is an opportunity for me to make sure that their contribution to the university is recognized by the members of the board. I hope they're here. I haven't seen them, but I'll mention their names anyhow. Please join me in thanking Professor Avi Levy, Dean of Engineering Sciences, Professor David Wettstein, Dean of the Humanities and Social Sciences, and Professor Dudi Bar-Tzvi, Kreitman School of Advanced Graduate Studies. Two other deans are standing for re-election for a second term, Professor Gabi Lemkov of the Natural Sciences and Professor Angel Porgador of the Health Sciences. Together with Professor Miki Malul, Business and Management, and Professor Noam Weisbrod, Jacob Blaustein Institutes for Desert Research, we have all worked together, mostly in harmony, to further the visions and goals of the university, improve our research and teaching. It would be amiss of me not to mention the Dean of Students, Professor Orna Almog, and the head of the Eilat campus, Professor Yaniv Poria. Thanks to one and all. I would like to conclude by going back to the effect of the current legislative process on the campus itself. We have a very heterogeneous campus, and it is important, and I repeat, and it is important that all opinions should be entertained and heard, as long as they are expressed in a respectful and tolerant manner and do not incite violence. Particularly at this worrying juncture, it is crucial that our faculty and students be able to express their views, and we have supported and encouraged the holding of events that promote this. As you saw before, one of the most successful events was a round table, where a few hundred students and faculty spoke their minds and listened to each other, sitting in groups on the grass. During a time of political and social polarization, this event was a beacon of hope for us all, and more events in this vein are being arranged. Looking forward, our future success is very much dependent on our ability to embrace the heterogeneity of our community and create a stimulating intellectual atmosphere that seeks to break new ground and work for the benefit of humanity. In this sense, the whole is much more than the sum of its parts. And as a thriving and vibrant academic community, we will be able to face the many challenges that lie ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaim, Professor Hims. Chaim mentioned the Olim LaAkademia, the program that integrates Russian speakers, and with us, joined the board today, is Dr. Yuri Kanner, who has been very, very important to that program. Thank you very much. We're exactly at 11 o'clock, and I would like to invite the President to come and close with some closing remarks. Thank you.
So as we go out to coffee and get on to the thematic part of the Board of Governors, I'd like to ask you to make sure you take a look at the President's report. There you'll find the detailed reports of each of the Vice Presidents of the university, and you'll see that what I talk about is actually all of their work. You know, the President, what does the President do, as my children ask? But the President does what all of their Vice Presidents do. So please take a look at the report and see what they've been doing for the university, and take the time to meet with them here today and learn more about their work. Thanks very much. Let's go and have the rest of the time.